Shalom family, how are you guys doing? We're going to be talking about love. If you haven't noticed yet, I have been posting lots of information on love. And today we're going to be talking about how love can actually heal. Many of us are looking for a way to heal at least something, whether it's an ailment, a disease, a disorder, mental healing, spiritual healing, physical healing. Whatever it shall be, I pray that this message is a blessing. Now, first things first, we're going to hop on over into 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. And while you guys get there, I'm going to be talking about something very interesting, but that is also straightforward. And this is about a study that was done. This study that was done has shown that people who are in loving relationships have lower levels of stress. Now, when we think about relationships, we automatically jump to husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend type relationships. But this actually applies to any relationship. This applies to siblings. This applies to, loving your relatives, loving your brother and sister in Mashiach. And if we don't feel love or give love, then we are creating higher levels of stress in people's lives. And we know that stress unalives people over time because of the impact it has on our organs and on our heart, which is what we are supposed to love from. Now, I know that's not 100% accurate because we know that we can love spiritually, right? But we know that the heart is an image that has been portrayed as the foundation of love. So just to think about how someone can literally be unalived because of the lack of love they receive. When I say lack of love, I'm talking the neglect of how they take care of themselves, the outside forces that can affect them, the trauma, right? The cortisol levels, speaking on a hormonal type situation. All of these different things can affect an individual. And we know that we are one body in Mashiach, which means that we need to be loving without season just as much as we pray without season. Now, why is this important? We're going to get into. Now, let's go on over to that 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. And it reads, "For Yahuwah has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind." Now, when we think about that, now, if it says he does not give us a spirit of fear, then we can say that, well, if fear is a spirit, then love is also a spirit. We know it's a fruit, but it's a spirit too. Those who have a spirit of love, you are most definitely going to feel it. You're going to see it by the way they are with others, and you're going to feel it by the way they are towards you. Does this mean that someone that does not have that spirit of love in that very instance that you connect with them, does that mean that they're never going to have it? No. Sometimes when people have a bad day, or when they're going through something and they don't know how to maturely communicate on a spiritual level, on an emotional level, sometimes they can show ruachs that are unclean, ruachs that are not love, but ruachs that are angry, ruachs that are prideful, ruachs that are jealous, whatever it is. But when we have a ruach of love, we know that comes along with having power. Love has the power of overcoming many things like sin, right? It says love covers a multitude of sin. So if we have a spirit of love, then we know we can overcome sin. If we have a spirit of love, we know love is powerful, right? Power, love, and it gives us a sound mind. Now, going back into what we said first, we said that people that have loving relationships have lower levels of stress. Stress has to do with the soundness of your mind. If you are someone that is stressed out, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have a sound mind. If you're someone that has stress, you are going to probably have high blood pressure. You're going to be angry. You're probably going to start accumulating in ways that are not so pleasing to Yahuwah and stuff like that. So when we have a sound mind, we know that our mind is not operating under fear or stress, but it is operating under love and power. And those two work hand in hand. Family, there is so much power in love. How do we know this? Well, guys, John 3:16 tells us why it's so much power in love. And this is a very popular, sometimes cliche verse, but it never gets old. And it says that Yahuwah so loved the world so much that he gave his only begotten son, that whoever believed on his son, Yahushua HaMashiach, should not perish but have everlasting life. So, wow, it says that he loved the world so much, right? So he loved the world, meaning those people in the world, so much that he gave his son, who he loved so much. And we know when we say his son, we're talking about the incarnation of Yahuwah, right? He gave his only begotten son that whoever believed on him, whoever believed on the one that was sent into the world to sacrifice for us in love and agape love, that whoever believed in that Basora will receive everlasting life. That is love. And not only is that love, that's power. Because you're telling me that if we believed in Yahushua HaMashiach, that he died for us, and that the Most High Yahuwah sent him to die for us in the flesh, okay? In the flesh, the word in the flesh, that we will have everlasting life if we just believed and kept his commandments and all the other stuff, you know? So that's pretty powerful, because he's the only one that can do that. Only an Alua can do something that gives salvation to all. Only an Alua. And this is what I mean, that even though there's only one Yahuwah and Alua, we have power through love, through him. And if we know that, then we wouldn't be hating, we wouldn't be dismantling, slandering, causing discord and all these things to our brethren, knowing that we actually had the power to heal and restore through the love of Yahuwah. Hallelujah. That's amazing. And this is what we need to keep in mind, that a sound mind is the opposite of depression. Having a sound mind is the opposite of angry. Having a sound mind is the opposite of anxiety and any of these other mental things that can come onto you. So when you have a sound mind, you are operating in love, because only a person with a sound mind is able to effectively love others the way they should be loved. When you have no way to even love yourself, then you are not possibly going to be able to love other people the right way. There are many people that have to forgive themselves for what they've done. There are many people that have to be healed by themselves in order to grow and move forward. There is no way that they can play a key role when it comes to the will of the Most High Yahuwah if they are not able to forgive, to let go, and to be healed. Only love can heal. Sometimes we are our own worst enemy when we think about how you can be healed by love, and love is the very thing you are blocking out of your life because of the unforgiveness, because of the resentment, because of the offense, because of the slander, or whatever other things that float around in people's heads or in their lives. There is nothing else that can possibly matter more than love. Everything we do has to be done through love. When I cook for my family, I don't angrily cook for them. I cook with love. When I am gardening and sowing seeds, I call my children over and we do it in love. When I am cleaning my house, I don't clean in frustration. I clean in love. And I praise Yahuwah. And it doesn't matter what it is that is wrong at that moment. It is going to pass away. Nothing is going to stay one way for a long time. As long as we can love, we have to transform our mindset, the way we think. We have to unlearn these old ways that keep us so stagnant and keep us in bondage. The enemy is not love. He is hate. Okay? He is evil. He's the opposite of love. So if we are not operating under the spirit of love, which is Yahuwah, then who are we operating under, family? I need us to think about that. So we did 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, and we did John 3:16. Okay? Another thing about love is that it boosts our immune system. For those of us that don't know about that, I can briefly tell you that your immune system is found in your gut. Okay, and your gut is where we have an immune system that keeps us healthy and keeps us strong to fight back against things like foreign invaders or pestilences. Now, many of us, we are fighting back our brethren like they're foreign invaders, but we are one body in Mashiach. So you are fighting against yourself, thus creating an immune system that is going to be weakened. In fact, it's going to be so weak that now you're going to be fight or flight. And we have to stop doing that, because when we do that, it hurts ourselves. And then when the true enemy comes, we're too weak to even fight that battle that matters. Now, this is all obviously hypothetically speaking, but it is true that love does boost your immune system. Your immune system gets strong and healthy. And as a result, you are illness free. That means you're not going to be sick as frequently as someone else that doesn't have that love or that care, that nourishment. We know that we can receive a healthy immune system just by fasting, but we are in taking the word of Yahuwah. Sometimes when we say fast, people think that we're in this like temporary burden of starving ourselves to the point where we feel like horrible. Now, I'm not saying it's always easy the first couple of days, and sometimes not even the first couple of hours. But when you are doing that, you should be ingesting the word. That is what you are also surviving on. That is how you love on yourself, is when you ingest the word, which is love. We know that the Torah, love fulfills the Torah. So if we are ingesting the Torah, the word, right, the written word of the Most High Yahuwah, we are loving on ourselves, family, on a deeper level. I'm talking deeper level. Not just eating the foods that make us happy, because some people you can love that way too, right? If you eat certain things that you enjoy, your cortisol levels are going to be really low. You're not going to be stressed because you're happy. Your endorphins are going to be jumping all over the place. Laughter, being happy, listening to cheerful music, going around people that don't cause you to feel uncomfortable like you're walking on eggshells, being in an environment that is peaceful and loving, where there's no hate, no underlying schemes, no dark agendas. We all need this. Family, love also can heal your wounds faster. When I say this, I'm talking also spiritually. Many of us have spiritual wounds that are still wide open, not even sutured up, not even healed, but bleeding out on other people. If they did not cut you, there's no reason to bleed on them. If they cut you, there's still no reason to bleed on them, because you should know you have the power and authority to be healed by his stripes alone, by his word, by love itself. You can love yourself enough to be healed, so that we're not walking around bleeding on other people, so that we are not complaining, not murmuring and bickering and all these things. None of those things will heal you. It only adds more fuel to the fire. And I'm not talking the good fire that refines. I'm talking the consuming fire that destroys. Love heals wounds faster. Let's go into Psalms 147, chapter 3. And it reads, family, it says, he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Knowing this, you should know that Dawood has also felt broken. He felt unloved. He felt all the above. This is the Psalms that he has written. And it says that Yahuwah, our Eluah, will heal up the brokenhearted. Yahuwah has the ability and the willingness to mend our emotional and our spiritual wounds. If he has the ability and the willingness to do it, we should want to do it too. Remember that we are not spoon-fed every single thing, but we have to be hardworking. We can't be sluggards and slothful. When we desire something, we can work for it too, not overstepping Yahuwah, but showing him our intentions. If it aligns with him, there's nothing wrong with you loving yourself. You make sure when you love yourself, you love other people just as much as you love yourself as well. We know that he can do this. He does not want to see us hurting. He has compassion for his children and for his creation. So we have to understand he can restore us if we ask for it. And if we put the work into it. If you are someone that wants to be healed from unforgiveness or from anger or from slothfulness, whatever it is that you want to be healed from, I told you what you can do. You can meditate on the word. You can create a sound mind within you with love, which is the power. It's the ruach that you need to do these things to accomplish it. That was the spirit that the Most High instilled into Yahushua HaMashiach when he came in the flesh. If he didn't have a spirit of love, he would have never, did what he did. Everything that he ever did was love. Healing people that couldn't see, that couldn't walk, bringing someone back who has perished 4 days later. I mean, getting rid of people's fevers and bleeding issues and all these things. Saving a woman from getting stoned from hypocrites. Everything he did was love. But if we was to examine ourselves, what is it that we are doing that is love? Are we mirroring the same love that Yahushua HaMashiach has mirrored? Would he have treated these Gentiles that way? Would he have treated the Yehudim that way? Would he have done this person this way or that person this way? Would he have said that? We have to make sure we are aligning ourselves with him and not with our own ways or perceptions of how we should be. We have to make sure that we are doing things led by the Ruach HaKodesh. Now, we know love heals wounds faster based on Psalms 147, verse 3. And I also have here Jeremiah 30:17. And let us read this. It says, "For I will restore health to you, and your wounds I will heal, declares Yahuwah, because they have called you an outcast. It is Zion for whom no one cares. He's going to heal us. He's going to heal you. You with the broken heart. You that is trying so hard to stay afloat above the waters. You feel like you're drowning. You feel like everything is falling apart. You feel like people are turning against you. You feel like you're being targeted. Whatever it is you feel, your family's mocking you. You got persecution over here. Your job ain't treating you right. Whatever it is you feel, Yahuwah is going to help you. He is going to heal your physical and your spiritual and your emotional wounds. And he's going to do it through love. You are love. Love is light. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not boast. Love does not envy. Love cares. Love is patient, compassionate, gentle. Love are these things, and we should be these things as well, family. This was on my heart to share today. Actually, it was just such a beautiful way to come about, because there's sometimes I need to hear my own messages. You know what I mean? And I'm always trying to love on people any way I can. If I don't have it monetary wise, I will pray for you. I'll pray for you anyway. If I don't have it that way where I can't even pray, I can't do anything, I'm going to call out your name, and I'm going to allow that Ruach HaKodesh to fill in what's in my heart for you. We have to be able to do this for our brothers and sisters. This is not something that we should do. Keep going on every day without love, without forgiveness. Love can affect us mentally as well, family. And this is the problem. Mentally, we already have the world trying to affect us. They fearmonger. They spread lies and deception. They create confusion amongst everyone, and it can affect us mentally, let alone the foods we eat, the things we put in our bodies, our temples, can affect us mentally, family. We constantly have to detox and purge out anything that is not of Yahuwah, anything that is not pure and holy, anything that is not clean. Love, when you have it, you feel secure. If I had parents that loved me, I would feel secure, because my mom, my dad, they love me. I feel content. I feel, good. I feel secure. I feel like I belong. I feel like my self-esteem is confident because my parents love me. So think about your brethren. Do you feel content where you are with all your brethren? Do you feel secure? Do you feel like you can trust? Do you feel like you can be confident in every room you go into? Do you feel like you can be yourself? Or do you feel like you're walking on eggshells? You can't really truly be your authentic self. Maybe you feel knots in your stomach. All of these things matter, because the spirit of love will not allow you to feel those things. That's what I'm trying to say here. Love doesn't make you feel insecure. Love doesn't make you feel like you don't belong. Love is not going to allow you to feel like you're being ostracized, like you're being, targeted. You're going to feel very secure when you belong somewhere, because you're going to feel the love. It is not something that someone even has to say. It is just a vibe that you're going to feel. And it's love. You're going to feel the presence of the Most High, Yahuwah, where there is love. And I'm saying real, pure, true love. Okay? Let's look at another Psalm. I have here Psalm 91. Verse number 1 to 2. And this is going to pertain to security, right? Because we know that this is the best verse to recite when we don't feel like we're safe, right? It says, one second. It says here, there we go. Psalms 91. It says, I will say of Yahuwah, he is my refuge and my fortress, my Alua, in whom I trust. So we know when we are secure, we have trust. We know we have protection. Okay? If you don't feel like you can trust or have safety or protection, whether it's your personal life, your spiritual life, whatever it is, we should be able to confide, to reach out to talk to connect to our brothers and sisters. Because when something happens, sometimes Yahuwah in his word, he says to go to your brother or sister and seek a witness, or, certain things. Sometimes he says where 2 and 3 gather, that's where he'll be, when it comes to fellowship. We also saw that Yahusha HaMashiach, when he sent out his Talmudian, he sent them out 2 by 2s. So we know that we are not meant to be alone forever. We know that there is a period or time to be alone and set apart. And then there's a time where we need to show face again. But we have to make sure that we feel the love where we are. Okay, family? And also, don't run away when there's just one rotten egg and then there's everybody else that's giving the love. What we have to do is start admonishing people. This is the time, like we went so many years where we just be quiet and stuff. But if we're really about Yahuwah's word and his business, we have to make sure that we start calling things out and nipping things in the bud so that it does not fester into, this giant chaotic fire that now we have to try to extinguish. There's a good scripture that says to, pluck out the eye if it's a bad eye, unless it consumes all the other members, or when I say members, I mean other parts of the body. And I love that parable because it's true. We know also about John 8:47. Thank you all for being patient with me. John 8:47 says, whoever belongs to Yahuwah hears what Yahuwah says. The reason you do not hear is that you do not belong to Yahuwah. So when Yahuwah is talking in spirit and in truth, you should hear him. It shouldn't cause you to get angry. It might cause you to feel conviction, right? If it fits your foot, if the shoe fits. But that conviction leads you to correction. So it shouldn't be something where now you feel hatred. Oh, you rejoice that your ears heard something that was right on time. And now you do what you have to do to fix it, which is repentance. You turn. If something you're listening to resonates with you and you feel like, ooh, it's being spoken towards you, then you have to fix it. Nothing should be taken by offense. Yahuwah's word is Yahuwah's word. So we have to make sure that when we belong to him, we do hear his voice. And another we don't follow, we have to keep that in mind. We're also going to look at here, I have John 16. And this is verse 15, okay? And we're almost done, family. So I thank you guys for your patience. And this has everything to do with belonging, right? I used to feel like I didn't belong when I was younger, especially in school. I felt like I was always like the misfit everywhere. My people, my own people wouldn't accept me, right? Or they gave me a hard time. And then the other Gentile people did the same. So it was just, I just feel like I'm weird. And sometimes I recollect what I went through, and then I look at how life is now, and it improved a lot, but there's still, you can still hear different content and stuff. It's just still like so much division. And where there is division, there is no love, family. So we have to also keep that in mind, that we have to guard our ear and eye gates and watch what tables we're eating from. Okay, now John 16:15 says, all that belong to the Father is mine. Yahusha said, all that belong to the Father is mine. That is why I said, the Ruach will receive from me what he will make known to you. You hear that? So just be mindful of that. You never know who Yahuwah is using to convey messages. You don't know who he's using to test, to bless, to learn a lesson, whatever it is. Just be a loving, pure person. If something is really not good for you, then you can take your piece and keep it moving, but always be loving anyway. You know, we don't have to brew up any hatred or any other ill feelings in our hearts or in our spirits, because that is what grieves us, and it does affect other people. Sometimes you'll notice like waves of emotions go through ministries and crowds of people and different things. And because everything's spiritual, and you'll notice it even within households, you know, how one person's feeling, next thing you know, everybody's feeling some type of way. And it is just the enemy doing what the enemy loves to do. He loves to, you know, stir the pot and make everything chaotic. So we have to make sure we are armored up spiritually, and that we are just being love. I mean, just by you being a kind, loving person, it kills people. It really does. It unalives people spiritually when you are loving people. And what it does, when I say unalive, I meant to say more of it rebukes or repels them, because we don't unalive people. Okay, family? Spiritually, we have to watch what we say and what our intentions are, because there are many murderers. And this is something I've been meditating on too. You have to be mindful of how you feel towards people, because you can be spiritually unaliving them. You can be spiritually harming them, and that does not rock when it comes to Yahuwah. He doesn't like that. And that's why we have to always test what's in our hearts, right? The core, the foundation of our spiritual journey resides here. You make the intention, the will, the decision to follow him, then you have to make sure you are constantly watching what's in here. Because whatever's in here needs to be pure and holy like he is. Or it needs to be examined, and it needs to be crucified, you know, circumcised, whatever you want to call it. Deny yourself, deny yourself. Because we have to be very mindful and careful about certain things pertaining to that. Now we're going to go into the book of Hebrews. All about faith, right? Hebrews 10:35 to 36. And this book reads this. It says, so do not throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. You need to persevere so that when you have done the will of Yahuwah, you will receive what he has promised. So remember how I told you that mentally love can affect our esteem levels. People that have low self-esteem usually don't have self-love, and they don't have love from other people. Because people that love you, they are going to say and do things and treat you in ways that make you feel like you're loved, right? They're going to do anything they can to help you feel loved and heard and seen, yada, yada, yada. So if you have low self-esteem, definitely meditate on Hebrews 10:35 to 36, because we are reminded not to throw away our confidence at all, because we will be rewarded for the way we are. We need to persevere in order to receive what was promised to us. Don't feel down about anything. Just always feel that confidence, and that's a part of having self-love. Self-love or self-care, some people like to say, is when you're confident in yourself, right? You're created wonderfully and fearfully. You're made in his image. So there's nothing to feel less about. But I know that sometimes we do need that love. And this is why we're going to be talking all about infants, because I feel like that's the perfect example to show us how important love truly is. Now, before we do that, let's go into 2 Corinthians. And we're going to do chapter 12, verse 9. And it says, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Mashiach's power may rest on me." So we are also reminded to embrace our faults, our flaws, rather. You want to embrace your flaws, right? No one's perfect. Embrace what Yahuwah had allowed to remain within you, because of that iniquity or flaw, his power is made, he is made strong through that weakness that you possess. So this doesn't say like, okay, go around and use that weakness and, do things that are not righteous. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is there's going to be sometimes things about us personally that he leaves so that he can continuously have a foothold in our life to keep working through us. Because sometimes people lose their humility when they are just automatically given everything at once and they're perfect. So sometimes they, because we're in the flesh and we have this sinful human nature, even though sometimes we don't even know we're sinning, but like just saying you don't need anything, you might start drifting away from prayer life. You might start drifting away from you needing him as much as you do when you have that weakness. So we have to just be mindful of making sure that even with that weakness, our self-esteem is still high enough to love others and love ourselves and love him first and foremost. Okay? Now, when we talk about love, there are infants, all infants, when they are born, one of the first things, and I know sometimes it could be weird nowadays because they're always trying to give somebody some C-section and take the baby and do all these things before the mommy even gets the baby. But for the most part, infants, when they come out, they are given skin to skin interaction with their mother. And the reason why this happens is because they are coming into a new realm, let's say, right? They're going from water to dryness. They have these lights, new smells, new everything. They have to calm down and, feel their mother's warmth, her smell, hear her voice, her heartbeat. All of these things can help a child to maintain stable levels in their bodies when it comes to the heart rate, the blood pressure, the temperature. All these things are very important for a child's very early infant development. Okay, family? So when that happens, and then now as the child is growing, the child is going to develop emotional bonding with his or her guardian or parents. And when that happens, this creates a consistent routine that the child is starting to pay attention to. Even at like 1 month, 2 weeks, the child's like, okay, when I cry, I get my diaper changed or checked. Sometimes she gives me my milk. Sometimes I cry and I get, rocked back to sleep. I get burped. These things allow the baby to know what to expect through emotional bonds, and this helps the mother to learn what the baby's needs are too. This is a relationship that is created through love, okay? Love is the basic foundation of this relationship. So we know this can also create trust, because now the baby trusts its parent because it knows when it cries this way, it's going to get its milk. If it does this, it's going to get its diaper changed. And this creates a loving relationship. And this is very important for children to have. Now, I know some circumstances, children don't have this. Sometimes they do have it, but other kids might have it a better or different way. And it's because of this land of captivity where people have to go straight back into work after 3 months and they can't stay home with their child. And other times, sometimes mothers, they don't love themselves how they should. So it's hard for them to love children. After a while, there's a lot of women that are even dealing with postpartum depression and maybe they were on, opioids or drugs. And then afterwards, it gets weird mentally for them and with the child, and there's this sense of rejection. There are so many scenarios, and I don't want to go off topic, but what I'm trying to say is love is truly healing. Okay, skin to skin, giving people hugs, telling your family you love them, hugging them, allowing them to touch. A lot of older people, especially if they become widowed, they don't have nobody to touch no more. When you see your family, especially the elderly, you give them a hug. Allow them to feel the love of the Most High Yah. I know it's hard for older people to change their ways and start learning something new about the truth and stuff, but you keep praying for them anyway. And you hug on them. Hug them. Say, I love you, Grandpa. I love you, Grandma. You don't have to say anything else if you're not called to, but just know they're feeling Yahuwah's love. They feel the Ruach HaKodesh because he's in you. And because he's in you, they feel what's in you. It's powerful, family. The baby's heart rate normalizes just feeling their mother. Just the smell of the mother. I mean, she could be across the room. They smell the milk. Yahuwah created us in such a way that if we truly understood how important it is to have love, we would not be doing this. And I really feel like people would still do this just because of the fact that we have been so hurt. I mean, bloodlines of hurt. It's in our veins, but we have to be cleansed and purified through the Ruach HaKodesh and his sanctification. And I know this is possible because if it's not possible, it wouldn't be written that it is possible. We have to have faith that these things can take place, family. Love also can influence your DNA, your heart rate, your cortisol levels, your nervous system. Just having love. Hi, mamas. I love you. So we have to make sure that we are always having love, family. Right? See, she wakes up and she comes straight to mommy. That's a sign of love, right? You love mommy? I love you too. Now, we have one more verse to look at, and this is going to be 1 John 4:16. I hope that noise isn't too disturbing in the background. Somebody's cutting their grass. 1 John 4, you're sliding. 1 John 4:16 says this, family. It says, and so we know and rely on the love of Yahuwah and what he has for us. Yahuwah is love. Whoever lives in love lives in Yahuwah and Yahuwah in them. So that is how we're going to close out this kind of short message. And it is a reminder that we are love. We live in Yahuwah and he in us. So we have to be love. Okay? And love does not hold grudges. Love forgives. Love is so long-suffering and patient, just like he is. Love are all these things. Remember, we are all members of one body. So for you to not love this member, you are still not loving yourself, family. And you know what was interesting? And this is completely off topic, but I thought it was interesting. We know that Adam and Kuah, right? They were created from like the soil or the dirt of our motherland, Africa, right? Our promised land, rather. We know that, right, family? And so just imagine, if you're into gardening, just imagine like fruits, vegetables, and you letting it sit and it grows, it rots, over time it rots, and then it turns, what does it turn back into? It turns back into dust, soil, right, family? Well, guess what? We all turn back into dust and soil. Every living thing that is of Yahuwah turns back into that. If a plant dies and gets old, they turn back into that. Leaves, fruits, vegetables, it turns back into soil. From soil we are born, from soil we'll go. How do you start growing a new plant? Soil, taking a seed, planting a seed. It's no different with us. We are one with his creations that he saw was good. We are all one, okay? We're one body. So just make sure that you keep that in mind, that eventually, you know, people don't live forever, and we don't want to have any grudges and any regrets after holding those grudges. We don't want to hold no regrets. You don't know what tomorrow is. Tomorrow's not promised for anyone. So while you're here today, love on your people, love on your neighbor, love on your family, love on your brothers and sisters. Love, love, love. That is how you fulfill the Torah. Yes, there are laws and commandments that we follow. Absolutely, I agree with that. But love fulfills all. People that don't know about the Torah, but they have loved people all their life. They had a pure heart. They helped people that needed help. You know, they did all these things and went to sleep and was grateful for life and never really complained, was okay with the bare minimum. Do you think those people are going to not make it to the kingdom? Do you think that they're going to burn in, you know, for not keeping the commandments and stuff? So we have to think about that. This is not to be difficult, but just think about how important love alone is. Okay? It is in the scriptures so many times, that word, ahab. Okay, so we have to understand why. Why is it mentioned so many times? It's because it's important. Okay? So let's start loving on each other for this new season that is here. I know some people didn't, says it's still on its way. Whatever it is, doesn't matter, because we are one in Mashiach, and we will be on one accord very soon. And I'm excited. But in the meantime, we need to love on each other, because that is the only way we're going to win this battle. Okay? Because we have something that they took from us, and that was love. They took it from us, and now we're divided and we're hating on each other. But we have to put that love back in. That is going to be something, man. When we do that, we are going to be unstoppable. Unstoppable. Completely unstoppable. And I can't wait to see it. All right, family. I will see you all soon. Peace and blessings. Shalom.